I projected that it was going to be a flop. I have to admit that I was wrong on that one, and pretty damn wrong. Statistically, someone who steals your phone in Barcelona actually has a Gucci cap. We had a discussion actually about what do we do when we press the enter button. Welcome to Watch Out for AGI podcast, your go-to podcast for the latest in AI. We dive into cutting-edge models, news, and products with insights from developers and creators worldwide. AI evolves fast, and we are here to keep you informed. So whether you're coding, building, or just curious about AI, stick with us to stay ahead of the game. This is Watch Out for AGI. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Watch Out podcast. Coming to you from my remote studio. It's a fruit salad studio here. I'm in Barcelona. This is actually a WeWork location. They have great locations on the weekends for podcasters. And we have Emrick, who is coming to us live from New York City, the most buzzing city after San Francisco. And,
oh no! On my Twitter, I see just everybody talking about San Francisco. I feel a lot of FOMO. I love New York, but I feel a lot of FOMO.
I was about to make a joke about all the cities that come before New York. But then actually I'm thinking about it. I was in London the other week. It's actually pretty dynamic over there, even though it is not a great place to be, like I've said before. If you're doing AI, you have a lot of the labs that are present there. I think 11 labs is present there. You have OpenAI that has an office there. I'm not sure. Do you know any other? I think Google also has a big presence in London.
The main office of DeepMind is there. All the leaders of DeepMind are there. So at least for DeepMind, it's purely London. Like US is the second market for DeepMind.
Although I did go on to Luma and I tried to get onto some of the AI events, it was very small. There were two of them and it was very weird, like beginner level.
So it's actually weird because if you purely talk about research, the labs are not really sharing anything. They are just sharing some papers sometimes. Like labs are really working between like inside themselves. Like they do not talk to other labs that much. Like I don't think DeepMind talks to that much. I don't think OpenAI research that. I don't think Meta Superintelligence. So the only thing that you can share is like when you actually buy research with, like Zuck did. But literally, the intelligence stays in the lab. So that's why you would not find researchy type events. You can find startups type events. And when you're going there, they're trying to sell you all their startup, but not research.
You would think that if you have the lab, then you probably have guys that go around those labs to set up shop, and they have their startups trying to get the top research guys to come in and be the CTO or something. And that would come with a few events that would be pretty nice. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of come down, I think, on the event side. Although, I mean, here in Barcelona, I think it's AI Summit. Who knows what that really means? A lot of people are going together to do a hackathon here, and there are a few things going on. I don't know if anybody knows, but there's a really cool circle here in Barcelona, which is called Norsken. It's a co-working / club / incubator. It has everything that you need. They're trying to attract top talent around Europe and even from the US to come and live a very, very comfortable life here, and it costs a lot less. I was just telling you, they have all the amenities, they have everything ready for you, and they have a lot of AI startups for an Iberian city. So I don't know what that's all about. I'll take a look at it. I'm signed up for one of those events this week, but
the only problem is you see a lot of startups, like you see a lot of people calling themselves startup. But if you look at the numbers, there's only American startups that are doing anything. Like you see a lot of AI startups in Europe, and like there's not that much except Lovable. Like, do you know another AI startup from Europe?
Unicorns, but that's also to give the European guys credit. It doesn't mean that they don't have good ideas. It's just that there's no money and they prefer to spend on social benefits for people who don't work and for retirees and whatever. The focus is not on innovation. It's on another thing. And that's why there's no funding for startups, and salaries are terrible and nobody wants to be here. And you know, There's a funny guy. I don't know what the guy's name is. There's a meme in France where France is like the specialist in losing. Well, in France we have the bac, which is the exam that you get at the entrance of university, and France is the specialist in losing bac +8, and they are the
Yeah.
specialists in recruiting the bac -8. So you have a lot of smart people. So bac +8 is like a doctorate.
Your
It's a
PhDs.
PhD level, and in the people who have a 10-year-old level of education. But anyway, let's move on to some news here, as we are the go-to podcast for AI news. Let's talk a bit about Sora 2. We talked about Sora 2 last week. I projected that it was going to be a flop. I have to admit that I was wrong on that one, and pretty damn wrong. It is a big deal. What do you
Yeah.
think, Emrick? You
I
thought
mean,
that it
it's
was not going to be a flop. You thought it was going to be big.
yeah. No, because I'm from Google. We think VO3 is amazing, but I have to admit, I was like, Google has YouTube. They have so much data set. Like, how can like OpenAI do anything to like get back to video? And they proved me wrong. Their model is actually really good. They have a lot of weird ass like body cam stuff. I don't know where they got all their videos, but it's really good. You can do all type of content. The audio is not perfect. Sometimes it desynchronizes. At least for the first week, it was amazing. Honestly, really good model. Capacities that can make all type of videos. And also their launch, Sora 2 app. First in the App Store. I don't know how OpenAI is doing it. They always win the B2C market. It's amazing. I remember that I provided you for the code to join Sora, and even this shit strategy to give codes, and like everybody has 5 codes. So at some point, of course, everybody will have access to the app, but that works. This kind of shit works, and it became really like popular, and everybody was posting like Sora 2 clips. I don't know. Google right now, I'm not sure Google was able to do such a trendy B2C release recently.
I actually wanted to show everybody what I had built one for Watch Out for AGI podcast, and so let me share that here. I don't know if the sound is coming, but
Yeah, it seems like our software Riverside is not really good at sharing this kind of video, but that's actually good. Here you have a good example of like I think your prompt was not too complicated. It was just adding us, and we also haven't mentioned this system of Cameo. So we both can register our Cameo, and it's really stupid. You just like put your phone in front of you, you turn your head, and it's already done. You also need to say 1 or 2 sentences, and you can put yourself in the video, and it's actually working not too bad. It's really working not too bad. And I was also impressed because OpenAI, if you took the video in a certain context, will also use the context of your video to recreate, I don't know, your bedroom as an example. Like if you took your Cameo in a bedroom, it will reuse the context of the place around you to recreate the videos. I don't know, where did you took your Cameo? Where was it?
I have no idea myself. I think I was in a hotel room somewhere like Geneva or something like that. I forget.
Because I know somebody took it to the Cameo in his apartment. No, you have the best video. Is this your dream to be a pilot, Remy?
I was turning off the MCAS here, which is something that caused a few problems in the previous years of aviation. I was explaining to everybody how to turn off the MCAS, which is a very useful video if you're a pilot flying the 737. But yeah,
I know
it's
that you did a lot of clips to try to test the limit of the model. It's funny. Every time you have a new model, you want to test the limits of it, like see where it stops.
I'm a humorous guy. I try to keep my humor off this podcast because that's not the part of it. But I do a lot of border type jokes, and a lot of my jokes go towards where the limits of the policies come in with OpenAI. So I was trying to
Yeah.
go around how do you generate a video of what you actually want without putting a prompt that is rejected, because it's just straight up wrong. And I was able to go around. So right now, today, the security, if you want to call it, to generate offensive or jokes that are pretty much inappropriate is very, very easy to do. All you have to do is never pronounce the words that are offensive. But hey, Emrick, You know who we're talking about. So this is something that's actually it's a topic. Statistically, a few populations have caused a few issues in different countries, right? So I'm not going to get into which ones. If you were to say someone who is stealing in France, what I was getting was the people from across the sea over there in North Africa. All these people were showing up in my videos.
And you never said what would be the
I
type of
never.
people that would steal. It's funny how the model are biased, actually.
You take it as you want. I think that's where having personal AI is actually it comes into play. Like if you're offended by the reality of the world, maybe you should have your own AI. But for me, this is actually a win because I was just sick and tired of the Google Black George Washington and
yeah, for their credit, it was really a long time ago, and they fixed this.
Yeah, they fixed it, but they made that mistake.
Yeah,
that really opened up the door on what should be here. It's not always easy to make this call. There's what are you supposed to do? Statistically, someone who steals your phone in Barcelona actually has a Gucci cap. So no, but like seriously. So if you take a look at my prompt, I'm not going to show it here, but I did a video. Let me see if I can find it.
It was a pretty basic prompt. And you're not like pinpointing or anything.
No. So if you want to say like a Moroccan dude stole my phone, that would be not very appropriate, and you would probably get flagged because that's racism. However, if I say a dude with a Gucci cap stole my phone in Barcelona, it's not inappropriate to say that. But then, when you think about it, how these LLMs work, when you start pixelating the dude Gucci cap, that's the closest pixel. When it's trying to converge, it's questionable whether anything should be done here. How do we block this? How do we not allow people to express their thoughts or express them? I don't even have an opinion on like if the Google thing was right or wrong. It's factually wrong. I don't know what the solution here, but I'm just bringing this up because I found it to be pretty interesting the way that this works.
I mean, I think OpenAI just like followed statistic evidence. Like if you take video and you train on videos, and at some point you have more videos of X or Y population. And I think OpenAI didn't try on purpose because we actually wanted to talk about this. One of the things that made this launch so good is that they had no barrier at all. You could generate any brand. We saw this Michael Jackson stealing buckets of chicken. You could just do whatever you want. And that was amazing. It was not censored at all. And we are missing this in AI a little bit. I know Grok is trying to do Grok Imagine. Their model is a little bit shit still. Sorry, Elon. But at least they do not censor at all. And it feels good and it's refreshing to just be able to do whatever you want. Now they start to censor. Like after 1 week of launch, they start to censor. And you cannot generate a lot of things anymore. I think that's why if you look at the reviews right now on the App Store, Sora is going really down 1 week after because you cannot do anything anymore. But for the first week, it was so funny. It was so amazing, actually. And I think it's great. I think OpenAI really succeeded that launch, at least for the first week.
Actually, that brings me to the general experience overall. I think with Sora, when I got in, it was still good. And then it went down a tiny bit because of multiple things. So you have the prompt thing. I got banned on a lot of my prompts, even for things that were not even that bad. Actually, there's a question about
licensing rights.
Because I put a prompt in. I think I said, I'm sitting in my mansion with my piano in the middle of the room and I'm playing Chopin, which is what I really like to listen to. And it banned me for that. It didn't allow me to do that. And Chopin has been now dead for 200 years. It is public domain. Yeah, it was flagged as non-public. I mean, you can imagine that it works in both ways. So security was kind of patched, and that is considered music, and music, you're not allowed to have music, any music, So that's too bad for me. That those prompts would have been really cool. But so I got banned a lot, and then I also had a lot of problems with quantization. I believe. I think you were the one who brought it up to me first. You sent me one that was just terrible, like physically wrong. It was a really
It was
bad
so
video.
interesting, the one I sent to you. It was literally a picture of you moving.
Yeah.
Normally, a video you move as a human, and like
Yeah.
95% of the model of the prompt are doing this. This time it was so weird. It was just make you move like just a picture moving, and I was like, is it even possible? Is the model knowing how to just move picture? It felt like I was on Paint or like Photoshop and just moving an image. So weird. So it clearly shows some level of like they're trying to optimize costs. It makes sense though, because it was so much open for everybody. And I guess the more people entered the platform, they had to quantize or something. Actually, I have access to the API of Sora. Like if you look at the page, you can see that you have two models. You have just the classic Sora 2 and the Sora 2 Pro. So there is here an evidence that there is quantization, because like two model exists, one that is really good, one that is just worse. It's possible that at the beginning they were just giving us the best model, and after they started to go on the quantized one. So that's sad, but at some point you have to make money, I guess.
You have to make money, and also, you need a launch with a bang. So everything needs to be high quality when you start.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
People would just not use it if you gave everybody the non-pro version. But once people start talking about it, then you can start to bring that down. The user's already on, the hype is already built. I would be wondering, how do you actually plan a launch at one of these large AI companies? How do you do it? Do you plan, okay, we're going to get X many million users with X many billion requests. We need to have a scale up we need to, bring down the availability on other models, maybe depreciate something, quantize, put more effort on Sora for the first X weeks, bring it
Mm.
down. I don't know how it works really. That would be interesting to know how they plan something like this.
I mean, they probably have a budget. Like, let's say they have, OpenAI burning so much money, but let's say you have a budget of like 200 mil of GPU. Like, this is easy to, like, you can put a unit on how much GPU works. And like, they can say their budget is X. And before launching, they prepare some parameters that they can tune. One example of parameters was just the number of generations you can do at the same time. When Sora just went out, you could do 5 generations at the same time. So you can just like start a lot of generation. And they reduced this to 3. So you can already remove the concurrent generation. And a lot of things that are so easy to change it, that are just switching the amount of engagement with the platform. If I can do 5 generations, like I non-stop create content, so I stay on the platform. If I reduce to 3, I'm struggling to generate more, and then 1, so I can just do 1 sequentially. So at some point, I'm just leaving the platform. So you can do this. You also have quantization. There's a lot of ways, a lot of mechanism to like allow to stay in the budget. And in the end, it's a worse expense for the end user, but like at least you're staying in your budget.
So you're showing me here, you're telling me that this is a 10 cent per call Sora, and you have a 30 cent per call for Sora Pro. Wow.
Yep. It's cheaper than VO3. So VO3 was way more expensive, and VO3 will probably come with an update and like reduce the price, because so I just want to say right now the Sora 2 videos are still low resolution. So if you wanted to use for professional use, it's not the best. Right now I think you can do 2K with VO3. So right now VO3, I think for resolution is still better, but I'm sure OpenAI will be able to.
Aren't there tricks to get that resolution up where you would just use the lower version and then scale it up rather
Yeah, you can
than building this?
upscale. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that probably the upscale model for video are also expensive. And I'm not an expert in upscaling. I know about upscaling of images. Upscaling images is super cheap, and it's also sometimes not that great. So usually the best people that can do upscaler are like their own platform. Like OpenAI will be the best to upscale their own model, I think. They're probably already doing upscale. I'm not sure about that.
Moving on to the next subject, which is also from OpenAI. It is a very, very interesting move forward. OpenAI launched AgentKit on October 6th, a toolkit for building, deploying AI agents with visual workflows. AgentKit allows users to build flows just like, and in this new flow, you're able to build a graph with automations where you can probably choose the model and code out the different responses it can get, and run your N8N flow. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a walled garden, right? It's not an open source version. It's a
Yeah.
closed source OpenAI version.
Yeah, that's the issue. So I think Vincent came on the pod. He was talking about hackathon, and he actually won a N8N hackathon. And N8N is amazing, and you will see a lot of people that are less technical using it. And it's a way to connect the dots between services that look absolutely not related. Like, did you use Zapier back in the time,
No,
Remy, a little bit?
not really.
You
No.
could use, so Zapier was like the king of the no code movement. And the idea was you could automate, like you receive an email from somebody and automatically it go in a Google Sheet. It creates this kind of like interaction between two systems that should not be interactable. And it allows to create automation that you should not be able to do. And so basically you could build with Zapier your own CRM. Like manage like discussion with the people that you have and you could do it with Zapier. And now you can do even more with an A10 because you could just say, when I receive this email, go to that website and enter the information of that first person to this form. So you can do crazy interaction that you could not do before because the API is not existing. And I think it was not really N8N. No, N8N have it. They have this graphical interface. And so you can do this crazy API interaction that were not possible, but you can do it graphically. And then you can test it. If you look at the repository on GitHub, it's insanely popular. Look at that. 150K stars. I think it's more than React to like build web development. This is insanely popular. You and I, Remy, we are sleeping on it. I think
I
that
think so as
you
well.
probably
Yeah.
have people that are just doing consulting for N8N and are becoming rich from it.
I think as a entrepreneur here, you can definitely get some value out of this. Instead of building code, you can build up integrations. I've seen people on Twitter building up video gen from NA to N, and
Yeah, absolutely.
they would test thousands of reels and Instagram posts, LinkedIn posts to see which one would do the best, and then go with one of those. And they would run those automatically. It's unbelievable.
I mean, you just said
Campaign
it.
costs so much
Look at
less.
that. I can go on that template and generate AI viral videos with VO3 and upload to TikTok. So I guess you can just like take that template and use it for yourself, just adding your API keys. Actually, great to go in prod. Like you're going in prod super fast with it.
Unbelievable. Seriously. Unbelievable.
And
But yeah, so actually the thing here with OpenAI's version is, my question is, why would OpenAI win here when we have one where we can choose the models that we want? Here,
yeah,
I'm guessing we're going to stick to
yeah,
GPT
OpenAI models. Yeah,
only,
yeah,
I mean, GPT only is great. GPT is amazing at a lot of stuff, that's for
yeah,
sure. And now we have the video stuff. It's probably going to arrive here. Audio, which is pretty damn good as well. Coding, which has really gotten much better. So you have a lot. It's not like as if, I'm not going to name drop here. I was about to say Quen or, if Quen were to do a closed source NA10, I don't think they would have as much of a bang because they don't have that many modalities. I think this could win. They could get some market share because N8N, you need a bit of knowledge to get it set up. This, if they are able to have it easy to start for people, look at us. We don't explore N8N as much as we should.
yeah.
There's a 1 out of 2 chance that I actually tried the ChatGPT version of NA10
Yeah, you
before
probably would.
NA10,
You're
So
such a
yeah,
normie, Remy.
I am.
I agree. You were just saying Quen as an example does not have modalities. That's true. Quen has multiple, like they have way more models, but it's so hard to like do the piping. And I guess here, if you do it with ChatGPT, everything will be piped super easily. I think the walled garden has an advantage. It reminds me Cursor versus Cloud Code. Cursor can connect to everything, but Cloud Code can optimize for their own environment. So I think there is space for both closed garden, Apple, and open ecosystem, Android. I think there is like market share for both.
I'm just thinking who would use OpenAI's. I mean, there's a lot of companies that use only OpenAI's API,
APIs,
actually.
yeah.
They exclusively, and a lot of people don't like, I've talked to a few people that still don't know what Claude is. It's unbelievable.
That's crazy. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. I would always say, yeah, it would be so nice to work for Claude, for Anthropic. Those two words have never been heard by a lot of the people. And it's crazy because those models in some modalities are far better than OpenAI's.
Yep.
Yet they're not focused that much on the advertisement of what they're doing, marketing. Before we get into the next subject, I just said that they are not focused on marketing, but they published a video which was pretty Apple-like. It was pretty sick. Did you see it?
They finally hired people for marketing. Can you show me? Actually, I haven't seen it, I think.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I think no, I remember. It's a great one. I think.
It's very, very interesting. The quality here, it's just, I like the way they're going here. It's going to be for the people who know. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And it really shows intelligence in many forms. It's not mainstream. These are for the weirdos, you know?
Mm.
But it really hits the spot. And again, the quality, and people really appreciate the color coding here, the different situations that are put in here. It's for a high intellectual type. And I think that at the end wins, because that kind of person is the person who you want to sell B2B to. And they will use your B2C after work. I think that's the strategy here. Keep thinking. It's actually a catchy slogan. What do you think?
No,
AI
it's
for the problem solvers. It's an Apple ripoff, by the way.
The marketing and of course the product market fit that Claude has is really nice. Like they are more focused into B2B. You see all the companies, they start with B2C and then they finally manage to tackle B2B and then they make money out of B2B. So it's not the case for Apple. Apple is really still B2C, but let's see Microsoft. They started with Windows, they started full B2C and they like slowly moved to B2B. Also there was antitrust, so that was why. But now they are striving in B2B. So I think I would prefer to be in the Anthropic side right now. Anthropic is really striving to sell for B2B. And it's like, I feel you can sell for B2B for years coming. They will keep selling.
All the pipelines, think about it, all the pipelines that they're building up for B2B, they will have to be built by the B2C folks, because they will have to fill their books with people logging onto their computers 5 days a week, instead of relying on people who cancel their subscriptions every week because it's a better model. You can't do that with business. You can't do that. If you build a pipeline, you need to run that pipeline at least for a quarter, at least for a year. You can't start using different models.
And meanwhile, we hear about OpenAI and like adding ads into ChatGPT. Is that this kind of thing you need to do with B2C? You need to like to mingle with ads, while B2B, they just pay for your models. This is so comforting.
Moving on to the topic about the ads in B2C, OpenAI has launched something called Apps SDK that enables apps inside ChatGPT with integrations like Spotify, Booking, Expedia. This one is very interesting. It's the first step into advertising. You know, ChatGPT becomes the first entry point for a user. Open up ChatGPT, you put in your intention, and up comes these applets that allow you to start reserving whatever you need. Or I don't know, with Spotify, you search for a song, probably uses an MCP something, and then shows you the Spotify song or podcast. It's a interesting take. Is it too early? It has to be done at some point. Is it done right? It's definitely very interesting. If they think it's the right time, then this is game changing. This is the future here.
It's not the first time that OpenAI is doing this. Isn't like OpenAI already added this kind of thing 1 year ago, no? You know, even like 3 years ago, you could already connect to Booking. I feel I'm not crazy here. You could add Booking in the list of tools that you were using, and automatically it would call Booking. Or was it a GPT, like a Booking GPT? I don't know. The form factor was different, but I feel it was already possible. Like there was already a connection that would use like Booking under the hood. Maybe just they didn't manage to like make people use it frequently. So that's why they abandoned it. And the applet is maybe just a new version of it.
I don't know. I think that there was some kind of official way to get your GPT out, because I remember there was only custom GPTs at the time.
Yeah.
Don't know. I think you could attach it to a knowledge base. You can attach it to an API, but I don't know if you could make any reservations. Right here, I don't actually know if I'm looking at the screen correctly. It's just making a search. It's using an
Yes.
MCP. Actually, I don't want to shit on this, but here goes. Is it a big deal?
So the idea is that OpenAI tries to become the platform. They don't want to be just the search, but they want to become the platform. They want to be a little bit like the App Store would be. They want to be able to distribute stuff from other people, because I think there is like value from it. Like Apple is taking a
Definitely.
30% cut, Google is taking a 30% cut. Why not ChatGPT would take 30% cut when they bring traffic to an app?
They
And
definitely
also,
need that revenue. That's for sure. You need to pay for
and
the
also,
servers.
yeah. And also right now, I'm still using Google a lot to reach certain services. How it works is Google was first into providing good web experience, and basically they shaped the web of today. And I think what ChatGPT here is trying to redo, they're trying to create a small web inside their platform. I think Facebook tried this also to like add a lot of like apps inside their platform. It didn't work out. So I don't know if it will work out. We will know in the future just with adoption. But it's hard to know in advance if this will work out. Maybe it will just be a flop like the last try that OpenAI did.
Yeah, what I was saying is that is it a big deal here, really, if I did connect Airbnb as an MCP to my Claude app, and I was using Claude Code even to make research on Airbnb prices, and it worked pretty damn well. You could ask for 10 different apartments with uh, a certain configuration, and it would give you those. And so this is just a UI that allows these big companies to show their inventory. What I'm seeing here that could be at risk is creating monopolies, because Google gives you, it's kind of diluted monopolies, because of course when you type in short-term stay, you're going to get Airbnb at the top just because of the SEO, which is a democratic way to get yourself to the top of the page. Now, what is it? ChatGPT searches, they choose
Who they want to work with, yeah.
who should be showing their stuff on there. I mean, they have all the right to, I guess, but is this the future? I think the internet has always been about being open. Nobody has ever won by keeping it a closed off garden. I think a lot of users would be pissed to not see other options than the big five.
I mean, we were saying this, but the Internet of Things is mostly platforms like the TikTok, the Facebook, the YouTube. Like it's all about you going on the web, but you're not going into like small websites. You're always spending most of your time on big platforms. So ChatGPT is trying to be one of it.
Mm-hmm.
They just want people to spend more time. So I guess here by adding more possibilities, that's what it's missing compared to Google. So maybe
But the
it will
thing
work.
is that with Google, you were able to see the stuff, even though, yes, it was a subset of the internet. Yes, there was maybe only 4% that's indexed of the internet. The rest is maybe even less than that, by the way. The rest is out there. And we have no idea that it is out there. But this is not 4%. This is 4 websites.
Yes.
That's the thing. That's what's kind of scary here, is that is the internet just going to be, is this the internet?
I guess they have to start somewhere. When Steve Jobs released the iPhone at the beginning, there was like no Apple Store at all. So anyway, there was just the apps of the Steve Jobs decided that there would be. And then they added probably just a little bit and then it increased. So it's possible to create a walled garden that has a lot of choices. Right now on the App Store, you can download a lot of apps, a lot of different apps. So it's still possible, I guess. It's just
It's
we
still
need to
possible.
start somewhere.
Absolutely. But it is a way for them to sell their traffic. I think you will see I would call it a GPT performance dashboard, like a Google search performance dashboard, where you see the
And I
number
think
of people that go through to your site through GPT. I think that's the future here.
no, but also think about it. Like there is Booking and there's Airbnb. How do I decide if I get Booking or Airbnb depending on my question? Maybe you can be Booking and you can pay ChatGPT to OpenAI to be able to like have your applets app appear first. Maybe it's just the first step of their ads plan.
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe they will make money out of it. It's actually smart.
I mean, it was bound to happen, right? We
Yep.
were waiting
Yep.
for this moment, and it's silent, but it's moving forward. The plan is
Yeah.
moving forward. On other news, we did want to spend a bit of time today to talk about something that keeps us awake at night.
Yeah.
And we were going to film this podcast yesterday, and it just didn't feel right because we wanted to bring this topic in, and we were not super well prepared. And so we did a bit of research on this. We had a discussion actually about what do we do when we press the enter button? What happens?
Absolutely. You described it perfectly. The agents nowadays, you're using Cloud Code, you're using Cursor, and they are so good at coding. Like they're actually being good. I'm feeling replaced. And I would love to be replaced. That's literally the point. I would love myself to be replaced. I would love to be replaced to be able to do more. And I just see that sometimes I'm not doing more. I'm like pressing the button, as you say. The agent starts. So if it's Cloud Code, it will take 2 minutes. If it's ChatGPT, it will take 10 minutes. And for 2 minutes and 10 minutes, what do I do? Do I just try to context switch on something else? Do I try to start another agent? Like, I actually want to know, Remy, what do you do when you press the button enter?
Well, we were joking a bit yesterday. I was about to say, I go and I make a sandwich in my kitchen or something, but and depending if you're using ChatGPT, maybe
You can do yourself a macaroni and cheese. You have time.
Maybe you can go out and make a latte or a frappuccino. But more seriously, it sparked a conversation that only I think builders and serious AI users might relate to. Because if you're doing light work, this is not a topic for you. You're like, oh yeah, great. I got the GPT to do my thing and I was able to whatever. But if your job is to do more, I have like 5 to 10 terminals open.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Mac terminal, and I'm running concurrently Claude Code. I mean, this was something that we even talked about last season. There was a dude that was opening up like 16 Claude Code terminals, running them simultaneously. And we were like, this guy, is he like for real? This is crazy. I don't think that this is, I think we were saying this guy is just doing it for the fame, we were
making fun of
the
him
clout.
at the time. Yeah.
And dude, seriously, it's not too far from that. I'm running simultaneously 3 to 5 windows. And as long as it fits in the quota, I don't want to burn my quota because that really sucks because you have to, I have to wait for 4 hours sometimes. I would say I get lost in my windows sometimes. I have to go back to the terminal and say, what is this one all about,
Absolutely. You're describing something that I'm also failing. It is hard to, when you start 5 agents, we don't have right now a good system to orchestrate agents. And we don't have a good system to share some middle context to everybody. So yeah, you mentioned, so it was the startup is called AgentKit. And I remember we were really making fun of him. But I think it's becoming a real problem because the agent in itself is really good, but takes time to work. Also, the agent is not really sharing a same knowledge base with another agent. And also, like, he doesn't know what you know. So you have something in your brain, you're receiving an email, you are having a chat on Telegram from a friend, and all of this is not shared into one knowledge base for all the agents. So you always have to type, always have to prompt. Also, the agent doesn't know what is your objective. So you have to describe what is your objective. But if there was a system in the middle that had a big knowledge base, and I don't know, just imagine a notion, just imagine a big notion, and every time something happens, like you receiving a message, you receiving an email, it will just add it to the big notion, something that is well indexed. The agent can take from it, understand what are your objectives, understand what you're working on right now, and could work. I think a good example, and I think a lot of companies tried something. Let's take Cognition and let's take Devin. So Devin still exists. It's still a player. I don't know how they exist, but they use GitHub as this way of like having all the context together. And they use you can use a pull request that you would send to your agent, and then the agent will work on the pull request. I think you could go even further. You could, with agentic system right now, you can have like a software developer that is working for himself. And right now you still need to look at the code. You still need to look at like the diffs on your cursor, the diffs on your cloud code. And I think in the future, instead of looking at the diff, you would do a sync meeting with your agents. You would have the manager agent saying that what the small agent did, and you would like look at the sync meeting if the things are working, and you would just give an opinion. And right now, I think you have a lot of closed gardens. You have like cursor, you have cloud code, you have Devin, but you don't have one big dashboard where you can see what all your agents are doing. So you still need to have it in your brain. So that's what you mentioned. You have like 5 different terminals. I would really love to find, like right now, a solution where you can have one dashboard, and every time an agent finishes, it will report to his manager, and then the manager can like do you a summary, and then you could like human in the loop. You would be able to give a feedback, and then you would continue. This is something that is missing right now, and that's why we made fun of AgentKit. I think it's literally what the missing piece to continue and go even further. To have you heard about
It's an
Elon
orchestrator.
Musk? Yeah, an orchestrator. Have you heard about Elon Musk and micro hard?
I heard about it. Yeah. Yeah. He was
So
hiring for that.
yes, the joke is like they want to do like Microsoft without employees. So they want to do micro hard. I think the idea is there. They probably want to create like companies that could work by itself with 0 employees. It's more of a buzzword right now, but we're going there, and we need some of this interface where you can have like one human managing a type, like a lot of agents. I think 6 months ago we were in San Francisco. You also went into San Francisco, and like everybody was agent and crew.ai. I think we don't hear about crew.ai at all right now. We hear about NA10, but I think nobody cares about crew.ai. So I'm not sure how it works, but crew.ai is a way to like give a purpose to an agent and let it like live by itself. I think there is a solution in the middle of all of this to be able in the future to not have this flow that is like context switch all the time, but having just behaving like a CEO of your own company of agents, and keep going with what is happening in the company, creating feedback loop of how you can get info from your agents, and keep going and working on the thing that matters. Yeah, I spent a lot of time and doing some deep research yesterday about it, and there is a lot of papers even on like how the cognition is working. Like, because if you think about it, the cognition works in a way where it's really hard to context switch even. So if you can like take the theory of like how to optimize the cognition and how to optimize the attention, you could probably be way more efficient. I just don't think nobody has the solution right now. Cursor is trying to be like the main entrance point. Like you have background agents, you have plan mode, you have a lot of stuff with Cursor. I don't think right now there's a player that managed to do it.
There's also something is that who's going to run the protocol? Because so today we have a few protocols that are in place for AI. We
Yeah,
have MCP, we
yeah.
have agents.md, but how will an agent report back to its manager? What form will that take? Will it be in the MCP world or?
I also want to add something that you didn't mention. Google, and not only Google actually, is trying to push A to A, so agent to agent, in a way for agent to talk between themselves. And you also have something that I learned more about it yesterday. It's the agent card. So let's just think your agent has a passport. And so you're able to know what is the purpose of that agent. So that's the concept of the agent card. So if you add the agent card, the A2A, tool calling, MCP, I think you can create something that works.
With routing and permissions, we were talking about this in season 1, a sub agent that has not much brain power. We're not
Mm,
going to give
hmm.
that the ability to charge on a credit card because we
Yeah,
know that it has a low IQ and you're only a reader. You're already you're only a small decision maker. This agent card that you're talking about, will the information on the model itself be available or not?
I should look a little bit more at the protocol, but I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure in the agent card it's possible to describe what the agent is able to do. And you can probably say if it's thinking or not in this context that you mentioned. Like if you have just a parsing agent, he probably has like a super small brain. He just knows how to parse. You would probably not give him the possibility to use the credit card. But I guess the top agent, that would be the manager. This manager has a brain and use thinking mode. He should not be able to give access to credit card to this small agent. It would make no sense.
You should give it to the guy who has a higher brain and he will. In the real world, when you have a manager that takes an external, okay, we have made the decision, we need an external, let's spawn up an AI that's going to be specialized at paying, and then it uses that instead of
Yeah,
using a smaller model. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Very
that's
interesting.
the end. It was like another question because I feel frustrated because I feel the model is so good. I'm using it in my job. I'm using it on my side projects. And I feel we can just go further into this usage. I think we could like create a flow of AI symbiosis between the human and the AI agency. We just haven't reached this symbiosis yet. We just have like small ideas of how to get closer to it, but we are not there yet.
I want to say that it's pretty impressive that we're having this discussion today, because I was just thinking about it 2 years ago when we were talking about, yeah, I'm gonna hire my own agent. We were using vocabulary that was already sounds very strange today, where I want my own agent. I want my own internet agent.
Mm.
And then, like, for some reason we thought that you would be able to pay for some kind of agent that would replace the cheap, Filipino slash Indian slash countries where you can actually hire someone to do repetitive tasks. It would replace that and you would pay for that. I want my own agent. It kind of crept up on us, and now we have 6 agents concurrently running. And we're having
Yeah.
this chat today where we're saying, I don't know how to coordinate my agents together. Can you just think about it real quick? We have agentic workflows, and now we're going to build companies inside our hardware. We're going to build miniature societies inside our hardware. It's pretty unbelievable. Seriously.
Every time the model increased by just 1%, it just improves the whole ladder. Like the whole hierarchical ladder is just improved because the first guy knows better how to give order to like the developer that's also better at developing. So all improvements, even super incremental of the model, is like improving the whole virtual like company.
To get back to, I want to ask, what do you do when you press enter? Right now, are you the hardo that you're searching for other things that you could work on while your agent is going at it? Are you taking a walk outside? Are you running a complete automated workflow already where you're not even working and you're getting passive income from your MacBook that's running 24/7?
I think most of the degenerates just go on Twitter and just like doom scroll their Twitter.
Actually, I did want to bring one thing up, that if someone can take this idea and make a product out of it, I don't know exactly if there's anything out there already. We're talking about coding here. Sorry for all the non-coders out there. I create a branch on a Git repository and I'm making changes to my repository. I can only run one agent for that, and I must commit and make a PR or change branch and run another agent. I cannot run 2 agents, 2 branches on the same machine. You can theoretically if you duplicate the directory. However, who does that? Who has 15 times the project on your computer with active running agents? It sounds crazy, but you can't run 2 different feature sets on your computer. You would need 2 computers.
Yeah. That's, I think, what a lot of companies are doing already. Like they spawn a VM or like a container to actually do and call the agent from inside that VM. So it makes sense for companies that are using cloud, but for like solo developers right now on your own MacBook, it's not really solved. I agree.
So that is why I have to wait and go get up and get a sandwich or make some Sora 2 videos that are quantized. Or I don't know. But yeah, I do waste a lot of time between calls. That is why working on multiple projects at the same time today works. You can duplicate your energies on others, especially if you're running. By the way, guys, I got a Claude Max again up and running. I was foolish to speak very fast. I canceled my Claude subscription. Claude 4.5 came out 2 days later, literally, and I had to
resubscribe them. It's okay. We forgive you, Remy.
Yes, I'm sorry, guys, for the false alerts. But yeah, go out and buy Claude Max again.
The $200 subscription faster. You're missing out, guys.
So anyway, I think that brings us to a full and complete episode today. A bit of news doesn't harm. A bit of reflection on the news, with the Sora, the policies that they're bringing in. What is the AI security going to look like for video? It's become right to our doorstep today. This issue. Then we talked about the latest from OpenAI's Dev Day, those two biggest features that we think are major changes to their ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then just one large reflection thought about where are we today with agentic workflows and what's the state. I think we're going to look back in 2 years from now and your question's probably going to be like, that guy said that at that time. Like we didn't have agent management tools.
This is so 2025.
Mark that episode. This episode should be called Agent Management Tools with a question mark. But yeah, so actually we have another subject that we wanted to cover. We'll go over that next week. A little quick peek, but we were looking at AI societies that are just fake societies that are being used today to run tests and this and that. Simulations. We're going to get into that next week. I find that has a lot of potential.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of questions that I really don't have much. I will be asking the questions, I think. So that brings this episode to an end, and I hope everybody like it. There's going to be a great amount of news coming up this week, I heard, coming from other sources. So the next week will be juicy, definitely. Thanks, Emrick, for your time, and I will see you on next week.
See ya.